Questions are being asked this evening about the Electoral Commission's acceptance of the Black First Land First Party's registration documents to contest the May elections. Yesterday, the party joined other political parties at the IEC's headquarters to lodge both its deposit and its lists of candidates to contest the polls. But under the Electoral Act, political parties can be fined or deregistered if they propagate incitement of violence or hatred or serious offence to any section of the population on the grounds of race. Yesterday, BLF leader Andile Mngxitama spoke outside the IEC headquarters after lodging his party's registration papers.
I want to commend the IEC for being very, very helpful. It has guided us where we have gone a little bit further. It has tried to speak to us as an adulthood, and we are happy. Up to now, we have been very happy with the support, assistance, guidance from this institution. In fact, I am prepared to say, in all institutions of government, this one has been the only one that has treated us with respect up to now.
Then, still outside the IEC yesterday, he went on to repeat comments that he's made in the past about race and specifically white people.
This land belongs to us and belongs to us alone. We don't have white people here. We don't accept white people. We're open about it even when we submitted our registration that we don't accept white people, because white people represent those that has made us what we are today.
That then is what happened outside the IEC yesterday. This then is what the Electoral Act, the law on this subject, actually says. It says a prohibition of registration of a party can be implemented under certain circumstances, and that the Chief Electoral Officer may not register a party in terms of Section 15 of the law if its manifesto contains anything which portrays the propagation or incitement of violence or hatred, or which may cause serious offence to any section of the population on the grounds of race, gender, sex, ethnic origin, colour, sexual orientation, age, disability, religion, conscience, belief, culture or language. The CEO of the Electoral Commission, Sy Mamabolo, joins me now on the line. Mr. Mamabolo, good evening to you. Thank you very much indeed for your time on the Full View tonight. Have you accepted the registration documents of the BLF? Have you legally accepted their registration for the elections?
The BLF was registered in 2016 as a party. And the scheme of the law is that a party submits their intention to register and publishes that in the government gazette, and parties have 14 days to object to that registration. And in fact, in 2016 we registered them having not received any objection. Now, if even after the registration, the Chief Electoral Officer has registered the party, people who may be aggrieved by the registration of the third party have the ability, their recourse is to appeal to the Commission and say the action of the Chief Electoral Officer to register PLF is inconsistent with the law. We've not received such objection at the level of the Chief Electoral Officer. Neither have we received an appeal to the Commission. And on that basis, yesterday we accepted their submission of a list of candidates.
You talk about the process under which one political party, or I presume a member of the public perhaps, might be able to register an objection. There is, of course, the Electoral Court as well. Are you empowered under the law to act assertively? In other words, to say this behaviour by a political party, hypothetically speaking, is not acceptable and therefore we can fine them or deregister them or go to the court to ask a judge to do that? Do you have the power to be proactive, or do you have to wait for a complaint?
We obviously have got to evaluate the application of a prospective political party against Section 15 of the Electoral Commission Act, and when that threshold is passed, then it is incumbent upon those who are aggrieved to raise an appeal with the Commission. And to the extent that they may still be aggrieved beyond the Commission, then their rights then lie with the Electoral Court, because it is the Electoral Court which has total jurisdiction to review any decision that the Commission makes.
So you're saying then you don't actually have the right to be proactive. Have I understood you correctly, that you actually have to wait for someone to lodge a complaint?
We have a proactive right before we exercise our right to register. Let me give you an example. The CEO, guided by Section 15 of the Electoral Commission Act, may say, no, I can't register this party. And if he or she does that, then the party may then decide to change their constitution or change their logos if the problem is their logos. But beyond that point, once the Chief Electoral Officer has registered the party, the only recourse available is firstly with the Commission, and if anyone remains aggrieved beyond that point, then their recourse lies then with the Electoral Court.
So for the moment then, you're actually in the hands of whether someone makes a complaint at this stage. You haven't done that. You registered them in 2016. There wasn't an objection. Then you have to wait for someone to register a complaint before any action can be taken.
Certainly, at this point, if anyone is aggrieved by the registration of the BLF or their continued pronouncements, then they must make an appeal to the Commission, and then that must be accompanied by an application for condonation, because the matter is beyond the 30 days, because we've got to do it within 30 days. To the extent that 30 days has gone past, then you've got to say, we are appealing now, and these are the circumstances which are exceptional that has made us to appeal at this moment, and then allow the Commission to make a determination. And beyond that point, should you still remain aggrieved, then your recourse lies with the Electoral Court.
Sy Mamabolo, thank you very much indeed for your time. Really do appreciate it. The Electoral Commission Chief Executive Officer, also the Chief Electoral Officer for that Commission.